Now it's time to do the feathered wreaths, and you actually have two different size squares in your quilt. You have one where the four light areas of your half square triangles come together, and then you have just some 6.5 inch, 6 inch finished squares that you used. Now on the one where the four triangles come together to create the square, you're going to know where your center is. The other ones, you'll need to find your center. What I've done is I've cut 8.5 inch squares because that's what size my paper is, so I know that 4.25 inches is where my center is for this. Does not matter what size your square is, just find your center and mark it. Of course, you'll be marking it with something that's water soluble, something that can come out of your quilt. I'm actually using a pencil here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll switch over to the Sharpie. But this is my center, so that's going to be the center of my the circle that I'm going to make for my feathered wreath. Now there are all different kinds of things that you can use for your center, for your circle. Find something that works, that gives you the size that you want. I'm going to show you a couple of things here that I have. This is just a little circle template, and this is not a bad size. This square that I'm using here is 8.5, so just assume that that's the exact size square, and I'm not going to be interested in seam allowances on this. I think I would go with something that's just a little bit larger. This is the piece that this fits into, so the center is the same, but the outside of this is too large because you would end up with very tiny feathers in the outer rim and then huge feathers in the center. Just think of everything that you have in your house that's a circle and think about whether or not it could be used. This is an old Mary Kay magnifying mirror. This, of course, is 3M painter's tape. I'll tell you, there's just so many useful products made by 3M. But this is a good size. So what I will do is I'm going to I have this centered, and I'm going to trace around it to get the spine for my feathered wreath. Now, when you're drawing these, and the feathered wreaths are one of the hardest things that you'll be doing on this quilt, you may want to make yourself some registration lines. The feathers, and I'll show you when I'm drawing them, tend to get some of them are laying down, some of them are standing up, some of them are more slanted than the others, and you don't want that to happen, and it's going to just come from practice. I don't know if you're familiar with Pam Clark with Design with Lines. She uses a lot of lines as registration marks for her designing, and it makes it so easy. It doesn't seem like it makes so much difference just thinking about it, but it really does. Now I'm just going to draw some lines, horizontal, vertical. These will be lines that will help us to keep our feathers going straight. Now, can you see what I've done here? I kind of actually missed the center in one of those. But this way we can kind of see where we want our feathers to be going. Now, I always start on the outside and go up and around. Do whatever works for you. I'm going to turn this so that it's at a good angle for me. But start right here, and you want your feather to have that little bit of a bump. And you can see the line at which I'm going across there. And again, when you get up here to these corner ones, if they're getting too big for you, remember your little loopy thing that you can do. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to end up with feathers that are different. See, that one doesn't have the little shape in there. You want to try to keep your feathers all about the same. And it's a little bit difficult because you're going, up, and then you're going down, and you're going sideways. So this will be a little bit taxing for you, but just practice. And the hard part is when you get down about, say, to right here, and you're making your feather, and you've got to fill in this space, which, you can see from there that it's really too big a space for one big fat feather, but it's not really big enough to put two in there. So once you get down to say a couple of inches from where your last feather is going to be, start thinking about how you're going to squeeze those in. And I'm going to show you some still photos of some quilts that I've done, and you'll see that they definitely are not always perfect. So don't worry about that. Now the center, it's the same thing. You want your feathers to kind of be leaning the same way. Can you see how I have these feathers? You wouldn't want to have your center feathers going up like this when you've got these kind of laying out. So kind of keep them going the same way, and you don't want to have any that come way out to the center and then some that are shorter. So if you end up having a hard time getting those to be the same way, then come in with something that's small. I don't have anything that's small enough right here, I don't think. And just make some hash marks, something that you'll see where to make your feathers go, and I will show you in the blog post. There'll be some still photos, and then you can see where to make your feathers come to, and then all your feathers will be fairly uniform as you're doing that. Okay, now just draw some of these out. The main thing that you want to concentrate on is that your feathers are all kind of laying the same amount. They all kind of have the same degree of laziness, and then you want them all to be fairly symmetrical as far as their shape and where they come to fill in your square. So first of all, you're going to find the center of your square, and then you're going to find whatever shape you want to give you the center spine for whatever size square you're working with, and then you'll make your feathers. Okay?